Good day, boys and girls. Today we're going to be starting a new chapter, chapter 13. And chapter 13 is learning about perimeter and area. Today's lesson specifically is focusing on how to measure perimeter. So let's first see, what is perimeter? Perimeter is the distance around a closed figure, and that is called perimeter. Now, when you try to figure out what perimeter is, you're going to use something called a formula. And in math, I always say formulas are like recipes. They are the ways to figure something out. So, and there's sometimes more than one way to do that. So let's first get to the Math in My World and get to example 1 and use the question to help us figure out perimeter. Example 1. Berto walked around a park on the rectangular path shown. How far did Berto walk? Okay, so here we have the path, and we know as it's a rectangle, we know in a rectangle opposite sides are the same length, okay? Even though we have only been given 6 yards and 12 yards, we know that this is 12 yards, and we know that this is 6 yards. So, as it says here, opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. So the side lengths are 12 yards, 6 yards, and 6 yards. Add the perimeter of all the sides of the figure. That is one formula that you can do, okay? Which is, I'm going to put here, perimeter equals side plus side plus side plus side, okay? So if we have perimeter equals 12 yards plus 12 yards plus 6 yards plus 6 yards. Okay, and what you might want to do here is this here is 24, this here is 12, and then 24 plus 12, we have this adds to 6, this adds to 3. So we have 36 yards. So Berta walked 36 yards. Now, here's the key concept, and this is something that you want to, anytime we have the key concept, you want to make sure you memorize the information in there, because those are the tools to help you with your math. So the words, to find the perimeter of a rectangle, add the lengths of the sides. The perimeter of a rectangle also equals 2 times the length plus 2 times its width. So you can do perimeter equals length plus width plus length plus width. And I had it here side by side, but you could also here, because we have 2 lengths and 2 widths. You can also do perimeter equals 2 times L, so whatever the L's are, plus 2 times W, whatever the W's are. Now remember when we learned in math that when we have an equation like this, where we have parentheses, we do what's in parentheses first, okay? Then you get your answer for here, your answer for here, and then you would add it. Okay, so keep this in mind, and we're going to work on a couple of more problems. A square has 4 sides of equal length. Remembering, in a square, all the sides are equal. To find the perimeter of a square, multiply the length of one side by 4. That being, because since every side is the same, we can say we have the same number 4 times, so we can multiply. You could also add the 4 sides, okay? So find the perimeter of a square with side lengths of 6 inches. One way, add the measurements of all the sides of the figure. P equals, and this is where I had put on the previous page, P equals side plus side plus side plus side, okay? And if we add that all up, we can think in our mind, I have 6 4 times, 6 times 4 is 24. So the perimeter is 24 inches. Another way you can do it, and this only, you can only do this when it comes to a square, because of the fact that a square, all the sides are equal. So multiply the length of one side by 4, because there are 4 sides of equal length. So P equals 4 times S. So this is another formula. P equals 4, because there's 4 sides, times 6, the 6 inches, P equals 24 inches. So the perimeter of the square is 24 inches. Okay? We're going to apply what we learned about perimeter and the formulas and to the guided practice. Now, one thing that I always suggest is that when you're working with formulas, when you're working with perimeters, it's a good idea to write down the formula you want to use, because then you just extract the variable and then you put in the number you want to use, and you won't make a silly mistake by trying to kind of rush through it and then miss a step. So we have here, find each perimeter. Okay, so this is a square. We can find the perimeter of a square by adding all the sides, where P equals side plus side plus side plus side, or there's 2 ways that we can figure this out. P equals side plus side plus side plus side, or P equals 4 times the side. Okay, so here is what when I say we're going to take out the variable, every side is 8 centimeters. So we're going to put P equals, the 4 stays the same because the 4 represents the 4 top sides, times 8 because it's 8 centimeters. Okay, so P equals, this is a math fact, 4 times 8? Yes, 32. 32 centimeters. So P equals, that means the perimeter equals 32 centimeters. Make sure you put that unit of measurement, okay? And number 2, we have a rectangle, okay? With a rectangle, we could use this formula, or we could use the one that we learned on the previous page, P equals 2 times L, in parentheses, plus 2 times W, okay, which is the width. So we have the 7 inches, and we have the 4 inches. Now, one of the things I want you to be clear about is that if you flip these, if you put L for 7 or L for 4, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change your answer. So that's okay regardless of how you put it. So we have the length and the width. So what we're going to do is just write the formula again, and P equals 2 times L. Okay, the length, we're going to say 4, plus 2 times W. The W, the width, we're going to say 7. Okay, as we learned in math in the past with order of operations, we're going to do P equals, well, what is 2 times 4? Yes, 8. Bring down the plus sign. 2 times 7, what is 2 times 7? 14. Okay, now we're going to add 14 and 8. Okay, so what's 8 plus 14? 22. Now the only thing we need to add is the unit of measurement, 22 inches. So what's the answer here? P equals 22 inches. Okay, so that is learning about perimeter and how to find perimeter. So describe 2 ways to find the perimeter of a square. Remember, one way is adding the sides, like this. Okay, this is one way. Or another way is P equals 4 times S. This is the other way. Okay? So work on your perimeter, and we will meet up again to review what you've done, and I'll take any questions if you have. Thank you.